Anyone who's ever built a PC knows this feeling, right? You're staring at a huge list of parts, trying to squeeze every last bit of performance out of your budget. But what if I told you that the choice you make for that gaming rig is actually part of a much bigger story? A story about a tech giant's desperate fight for survival and a massive high-stakes bet that could literally reshape the entire global tech landscape. So let's connect those dots.
Yeah, I know it sounds like a stretch, right? But that processor you're looking at, that little Intel Inside sticker, it's at the very heart of a huge corporate and geopolitical drama. The choices made in Intel's boardrooms, they have these huge ripple effects that go from your desktop all the way to the world stage. And today, we're going to follow that ripple.
And believe it or not, it all kicks off with a pretty simple choice. Let's imagine it's early 2026. You're ready to build a new gaming PC. You go online, and the market is just flooded with options. Now, that's fantastic for us as consumers, but it also makes picking the right parts a serious challenge.
So if you're building on a budget, the competition is absolutely fierce. On one side, you've got AMD's Team Red. Their Ryzen 5 and Radeon combo, it's the go-to, the proven workhorse for gamers. Then you've got Intel's Team Blue, pairing a really solid Core i5 with their Arc GPU. That Arc card is still kind of the wild card pick, a great value for sure, but for those who are willing to take a bit of a chance.
Now, if you've got money to burn, the choice is, well, it's not really a choice, is it? It's Nvidia. Their RTX 5090 is the undisputed king of the mountain. And AMD and Intel, they're not even in the same league right now, completely out of the conversation at the very top. And that gap right there perfectly shows you the massive mountain Intel has to climb.
And that right there brings us squarely to Intel. I mean, this isn't just some company. This is the titan, the giant that basically defined the personal computer for generations. But as we just saw, the game has completely changed.
You know, for the longest time, the only question was which Intel chip you were going to get. They were the default, the undisputed champ. But really tough competition from rivals like AMD, plus a few major stumbles on their own, have put them on the defensive. The big takeaway here is this: they're not defending a title anymore. They are fighting, tooth and nail, to win it back.
Okay, so to really get what their comeback plan is all about, we gotta understand the hole they're trying to climb out of. And the best way to do that? You guessed it, follow the money. Let's dig into the numbers. All right, first up, let's talk about a sign of life. In the third quarter of 2025, Intel brought in a whopping $13.7 billion in revenue. That was actually more than they even predicted. This just goes to show they are still an absolute behemoth, pulling in massive amounts of cash.
But, and there's always a but, when you zoom out, you start to see the cracks. Their total revenue for 2024 was $53.1 billion. That's a small 2% dip from the year before. It's not a disaster, but it's a huge red flag that the constant upward growth they were so used to, it's hit a wall.
So where's all that cash actually coming from? Well, the biggest piece of the pie is still client computing. That's your desktop and laptop chips. But look at this. The slice for their new foundry business is almost as big as their data center and AI group. That slice right there, that's the one we've got to keep our eyes on. It's key.
So what's the verdict from Wall Street? Well, analysts are kind of cautious. The average price target is sitting around $36, which means they see some potential, but they are not expecting some miracle overnight recovery. Basically, they're in wait-and-see mode. They're on the sidelines, watching to see if these huge bets Intel is making are actually going to pay off.
And that brings us right to the heart of it all. Intel's absolutely massive comeback plan. Facing all this pressure, they've laid out this huge, high-stakes bet to claw their way back to the top. And this isn't just one bet. It's a three-part Hail Mary. Okay, so here's the game plan, broken down. First, they are going all in on owning the next big revolution, the AI PC. Second, they have to get their tech mojo back with a brand new manufacturing process called 18A. And third, this one is the big one, and maybe the biggest pivot in their entire history, they want to start building chips for other people. All right, let's dig into that first part, AI PCs. We're talking about computers with special hardware inside, built to run AI stuff right on your machine. No cloud needed. Intel's not just dipping a toe in the water here. They are trying to create a tidal wave. They're aiming to help ship over 100 million of these things by the end of 2025. And this is so much more than just selling chips. It's about making Intel Silicon the absolute non-negotiable foundation for the next generation of computers. Okay, pillar number 2, the tech itself. Look, for years now, Intel has been lagging behind rivals like TSMC in manufacturing. It's been a sore spot. Well, Intel 18A is their answer. And as you can see from this timeline, the plan is crazy aggressive. They are racing to get their first big product, Panther Lake, out the door in late 2025. And the goal? To get their 18A process up and running before TSMC's competing tech. This is a straight-up, no-holds-barred race to take back the manufacturing crown.
And that, of course, leads us to their most radical, game-changing move, Intel Foundry Services. So what the heck is a foundry? Think of it this way. Intel is unlocking the doors to its billion-dollar factories and telling the whole world, come on in. For decades, they only built their own chip designs. Now, they're saying to everyone, even their competitors, you design it, we'll build it.
Okay, and this is where our whole story just blows up, from your desktop to the entire globe. Because this isn't just a business plan. Whether this gamble succeeds or fails, man, the implications go way, way beyond the tech industry.
I mean, just look at this quote from the CSIS. It says it all, right? In a world where we're all worried about who controls the chip supply chain, having a top-tier American chipmaker isn't just nice, it's a matter of national security. Intel isn't just another company anymore. It's being treated like a strategic national asset. Their success is tied to a much, much bigger picture.
And just like that, we've come full circle. We started with you, picking out parts for a gaming PC,